leapfrogged by others, by digital currency, by digital Chinese currency. Why? Because frankly, our central bank has been slow, and there's an appointment coming in January of 22. The president's got to decide whether to change over who's leading the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve runs our payment system. Right. And I think we need to move that Federal Reserve into the modern era.
Currency debasement, right? And the currency debasement is why Bitcoin goes up. Inflation is usually happens alongside with it.
Is it?
It's not in the sense that you can have the currency continue to debase and lose purchasing power without having that inflation number spike to 9%, right? And I think that's what we really saw here was we saw inflation spike over 9%. During the Biden administration.
So what do you think it should be? 5%, 6%, 7%?
I tend to think that the inflation rate is not 2%. It's higher than that, but it's not going to be 5 to 10%.
Do you think the Fed goes along with that? If they start to see inflation picking back up, wouldn't the Fed then raise rates, and wouldn't that have curb inflationary economic expansion?
One of the biggest questions I think that we're going to face as a country is how involved should the president and the executive branch be involved in monetary policy. Donald Trump has said that he thinks the president should be more involved. We obviously have had a situation where the central bank has been independent.
You think inflationary stuff and then saying we're going to keep rates going down, interest rates going down is the right policy?
I don't think that you can keep rates going down if inflation is spiking. And so I think that's where you get a lot of complexity. And it's not as clear in terms of when inflation is spiking, what do you do to get it down?
And by the way, the bond market isn't paying attention to the Fed lowering rates at this point anyway, not on the long end, not even on the short end at this point. But the 10-year is all the way back up at 447. So there's only so much that any administration or any Federal Reserve can do.
Yeah, one of the things that's really interesting about policy is you kind of draw, the perfect playbook, right? You're like, hey, this is the theory of what could happen. But then that plan meets the real world. And so you can try to do all these things.
Mike Tyson, right? You can do all these things till somebody punches you in the face. Yeah. What if that person punching you in the face is the bond market?
Yeah, listen, I think in the short run, right, emerging market currencies, China are getting hit. You're seeing it today. I'd probably be a buyer of Chinese stocks on any dip because I think the Chinese are going to respond with a big stimulus package. Elon Musk was really the only person on either side during the campaign that talked about America going bankrupt, that talked about this giant deficit that we have that we need to do something about. If that's the case, if they actually take him seriously and do something, and Bess had alluded to it, that would change things, right? That would change things in yield curve. It would change things in gold and silver. I don't think it will happen. I don't think Donald Trump has it in him after having just got this mandate to say, oh, I've got to tighten my belt. I just don't see it. I don't see us, Social Security and Medicare really are the two things you'd have to go out and attack, really unpopular politically.
And going to a different economy. And we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting it more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets. Now,
it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And guys, please like and subscribe if you do like what you're listening to. Please inform your friends and family and spread it all over social media. It is imperative that we get back to learning finances and understand how the world really works, because once we understand how the world really works, we understand that it is all planned out. Now, I want to thank those who purchased the books Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book. Remember, the New World Order book shows you how the world really works, and it is definitely time for you to wake up out of that sleep, especially in the times that we're in right now. And 2024 is going to be one of our most entertaining years. We have the presidential election. We have the drums are beating. We have the emerging markets going to be flipping the switch on the fourth industrial revolution. And they finally start to cut rates. And we know Japan is going to start raising rates. And those trillions of dollars that are sitting in money market accounts are going to start flowing over to the emerging markets. And we know the master magicians are about to set up that distraction so they can cut rates while we still have inflation. And in the fourth quarter, once the election is over, the movie begins. And also, guys, I want to thank those who purchased the 3 Kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, much love to those who donate to the Cash App, Patreon. Much love. Keep it coming. Guys, if you're not a part of the Patreon, make sure you're donating to the channel through the actual Cash App. But guys, this next Bitcoin and crypto bull run is going to be a utility run. So you want to make sure you have the cryptos that have real utility. And much love to those who are shopping at both stores. Keep it coming. And of course, guys, we get into Bitcoin and cryptos first.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And we have Bitcoin and crypto flat as I'm doing this video. We have stocks overall up. We know we have plenty of earnings today. And then plus, guys, we have Jerome in the house. So we know they like markets to be looking decent when he's in the house. And then, of course, once he leaves, it pulls back. But tomorrow, of course, we have options. So we're expected a pullback in cryptos, a slight pullback, because we know at the beginning of the month we move up anyway. But then next week in stocks, we'll have a pullback because that's the third Friday. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. Now, we had crypto pumping yesterday, over $400 million in shorts liquidated, and we had open interest at all-time highs. But make sure you're keeping an eye on the bond market, because it doesn't care about all this good news. It's keeping you in reality. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. So make sure you're paying attention to the actual indicators. We have yield rates moving down, and again, we know we have Jerome Powell in the house. Dollar is down, pulling back, but still strong. So yield rates and dollar is still strong, but it is pulling back slightly. We have volume in crypto right now up. We have Tether and USDC. And then, of course, guys, we have the Fed. Repo at 177 billion yesterday. Make sure you're pulling it on a daily basis during the week. We are seeing it slowly come down. And we know all these emergency measures are going to be coming to an end. And then again, guys, we have Jerome in the house looking at cutting 25 basis points. Like I said yesterday, I think in December they will pause unless we get a bad labor's number, but I don't see that happening. Now, we know Gary Gensler is about to ride off in the sun, but Gary Gensler was in that simulation about the threat to the U.S. dollar and moving over to digital currencies, which we know the central banks have been behind from the beginning. It's one of the greatest master plans ever, and Trump's job is to complete it. So we know Trump is going to cause a currency war to devalue the currency to put us on a level playing field, and then also a trade war with all these tariffs, and that's going to bring the collision between China and the U.S. And that'll land us in this new digital economy. And remember, guys, he only has 4 years. So he can care less what the people think because he doesn't have to worry about being reelected to continue to push the agenda. His job is to hand the keys over for the next person to finish the job. And this is a plan and moves in phases. But Biden told us over the next 5 years, we're going to see technology move faster than in the last 20. So we'll definitely get crypto regulation this year, which will bring in the trillions of dollars, the big money. But also regulation will collapse a lot of these projects. Remember, only 1% of the 1% will survive. We know it's not that many utility cryptos when we look through these thousands and thousands of digital assets. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. Now we have Bitcoin, Ethereum, spot ETFs, BlackRock, Fidelity, and Grayscale. Bitcoin, Ethereum, spot ETFs right now are down. Now, getting over into a little crypto news, we have Ethereum developers roll out Mekong testnet to trial next year's Petra upgrade. And looking at Ethereum's ecosystem, we know eventually Ethereum is going to blast off. And we know the big banks and big corporations have their hands all over Ethereum, especially JP Morgan. And then lastly, guys, we have Avalanche Foundation buys back 52 million worth of Avalanche tokens from the Do Kwon Luna Foundation Guard. And this sounds exactly like FTX, the Bankman bankruptcy. They have all these assets, and then the same people get to come in and buy for cheap. We've seen this movie before. Remember, your life is an illusion, and TV is your reality. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. Because he knows, when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. But that's all I have for you. Don't forget about the books. Crypto Teacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know, I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID 33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.